The movie opens with a young man named Baron being introduced to his new cellmate, named Otis. Baron attempts to strike up a conversation with Otis, stating that he must get out of prison and reunite with the woman he loves, whose name is Marmalade. Initially, Otis disagrees, but then Baron reveals that if he helps him, he can pay him $350,000, which catches his attention. Baron opens up about his past to Otis, revealing that he was a poor country boy who was forced to take care of his bedridden mother, who couldn't even speak. He worked as a postman to provide for himself and his mother, though he was fired for refusing to cut his hair. When he arrives home, he opens a letter from the pharmaceutical company informing him that the price of his mother's medication is increasing. Baron's mother enjoys moon pies, and he regularly has to feed them to her. He is determined to find a way to pay for his mother's medication, asking her not to worry. One day while in the park, depressed over how he would provide for himself and his mother, he falls to the ground. Just then, a young woman named Marmalade with pink hair drives her car to the playground. She states that she saw Baron and that he was lifeless, and it caught her attention. She questions him about the town and if there is anything fun to do. Baron denies there is. She accepts this, gets in her car, and leaves. He stops his story to inform Otis that she is the girl of his dreams, and then continues. Baron begins hitting the swings with a branch in frustration at the thought of letting his chance slip. However, she returns, and Baron explains that the town is small, has no real police department as nothing happens, and there are just a few shops and friendly people. This catches Marmalade's attention. She is an extrovert, unhinged, and more intelligent than the otherwise dim Baron. Marmalade introduces herself and asks him to get in her car and give her a tour of the town. Baron says that straight away it felt as though they were the same person. They spend the day together and enjoy each other's company. Marmalade speaks about her past, revealing she was in foster care and was moved from home to home. She then asks Baron if he knows of a place where she can stay the night, and he answers that he does. Marmalade begins staying at his home with him. Marmalade started spending more and more time with Baron, teaching him all manner of things and stating that she loved him just as much as he loved her. However, she wanted more and suggested they rob a bank. Baron was not on board with the idea, but he was in love and at the mercy of Marmalade's desires, as he very much wanted to see her happy. This is when Otis interrupts him and begins laughing at his story, stating that Baron is goofy, but he should finish his story. Baron reveals he was appalled at Marmalade's suggestion to rob a bank. However, Marmalade eventually persuades him by seducing him. Over the next few days, Baron and Marmalade went on dates while Marmalade planned their bank robbery. At this point, it is clear that she aimed to manipulate Baron into helping her against his better judgment. Marmalade laid out several steps to achieve their objective. This involved drawing a map of the inside of the bank, training Baron to use firearms, and buying disguises for their robbery. Their relationship also becomes more serious, with Marmalade initiating sex whenever she gets the opportunity. Otis stops Baron from giving any more details about his sex life, as he informs him it's making him uncomfortable. Baron states that Marmalade had him tattoo her name on his ankle, though the tattoo artist spelled it wrong, so it simply read Mama. Meanwhile, Marmalade herself got a jigsaw piece tattooed on her neck. Baron voiced his concerns about robbing a bank to his mother, who was too ill to speak. He informs her that he is scared to do so, but suddenly, his mother stops moving, and for a second, Baron is petrified when he thinks his mother has passed. However, she quickly regains her breath, and he is relieved. One day when headed into town, Marmalade gets annoyed by Baron when he asks her about her past. She informs him that her life isn't like his, and reveals that she was abused by her foster father, who was a big man with a cane and had a twitch. Baron cheers her up, and the two of them go into a shop to buy masks. However, when Baron informs her that he cannot afford the masks, Marmalade takes her firearm and robs the store. Later that night, she asks Baron what he wants, and he replies that he wants his mother to get better. However, Marmalade keeps asking him the same question until he answers that he wants her. She later goes to check on his mother while Baron is in his room. Suddenly, he hears his mother's vitals monitor beeping, and he walks into her room to find Marmalade crying as his mother has passed away. Back in the present, Baron is crying in front of Otis, who is moved by his story as he hasn't seen his mother in a while. Otis reveals that his mother lives in Kingston, Jamaica, and he isn't even sure if she's still alive. Just then, Correction Officer Cambio arrives at their cell and informs the pair that it's mealtime. Otis instructs Baron to wipe his tears and to keep his story to himself if he wants to break out. In the meal hall, a big, bearded man sits next to Baron to eat. However, he is furious when Baron informs him that he has food in his beard. Before the man can punch Baron, Otis chokes the man out before being rushed away by Cambio, who takes him to a secluded part of the prison. When the two men are alone, Otis takes off his handcuffs and is met by Detective Gray. It is revealed that Otis is an undercover agent who is trying to find out the whereabouts of Marmalade from Baron. The agents have a whole file on Marmalade, who has been dubbed the Baby Doll Bandit, and have thus far come up short in apprehending her. Otis is determined to find out more from Baron on the whereabouts of Marmalade, but Chief Dixon is in protest of his methods, stating that he could break someone as dumb as Baron with ease. Baron, alone in his cell, recalls that when the day of the robbery arrived, he informed Marmalade that he wanted to back out and try to get his job at the postal office back. Marmalade threw a fit in response, and then revealed that she was pregnant with his child. This was enough to persuade Baron. During the bank robbery, Marmalade went inside to carry out the heist on her own, while Baron waited in the car. Just then, Baron imagines himself getting out of the car and dancing with Marmalade in the middle of the road, but he is snapped out of it once Marmalade shouts at him. That night, Marmalade celebrates the robbery by playing with the immense amount of cash they have. Baron is rendered almost speechless at the sheer amount of money they have. However, that night, he finds his mother's pills in Marmalade's car. He confronts her, revolver in hand, and questions her why his mother's important pills were in her possession. Marmalade, now stiff with fear, explains that she simply forgot to take them out of the car. She tries to calm Baron down, but he is angry and can no longer tell if Marmalade is lying to him. He emphasizes that he doesn't want her to come any closer to him, still aiming the gun right at her. Suddenly, the two hear police sirens outside the house, and Marmalade suggests they split the money and run and meet up at 3:30 at the place they first met. However, she also states that if one of them didn't show, that meant they got arrested, and the other person should take the money and disappear forever. Marmalade looks Baron in the eyes and says that he is the man of her dreams, and that he has loved her like no one has ever loved her before, and kisses him. She runs away out the back door while Baron hands himself in. Otis questions Baron on why he believes Marmalade will be waiting for him at 3:30 this afternoon. Baron replies by asking him if he believes in love, and Otis nods in agreement. He informs him that he will help him escape, and Cambio arrives at the cell and hands Otis his keys. Otis dresses in an officer's uniform and instructs Baron to hide inside a basket full of towels, which he pushes to the front entrance of the prison. However, the plan goes wrong when an officer who isn't aware that Otis is undercover intervenes, and Otis has no choice but to force Baron out of the prison unaccompanied. Gray informs Otis that they have a tracker on Baron's vehicle, and they follow him to a graveyard, which supposedly belongs to Baron's late mother. However, after Baron leaves, Otis sees he has oddly left a jar of marmalade on the headstone. They follow him to a gas station, but they are shocked to see that Baron isn't in the car at all. He has swapped his vehicle for another to lose them. Meanwhile, Baron has arrived at his old house, where he has stashed his share of the money, and he cuts his hair. Elsewhere, Otis requests security images of Marmalade robbing the bank, and his worst fears are realized when he spots that the culprit had a tattoo on their ankle that read, "Mama." It revealed that it was Baron who robbed the bank all along, not Marmalade. In fact, Marmalade never existed at all. While dressed as a woman, Baron is able to fool the police officers, blocking off the exit to the city, and makes it out, much to his delight. He arrives at a pharmacy, asking for pleonexia, the same medication his mother took. The pharmacist asks if the medication is for himself, but Baron reveals they are in fact for his foster mother. Meanwhile, Cambio informs Otis they have a lead on Baron's whereabouts at a nearby pharmacy. However, they arrive at a pharmaceutical company named Baron Pharmaceuticals. Once there, they meet Mr. Frankels, the CEO, and an angry old man with a cane. Mr. Frankels is upset because $500,000 of his money was stolen from a nearby bank and wants Otis and the rest of the FBI to retrieve his money. However, Otis puts it all together and asks Mr. Frankels if he has ever fostered children, which he confirms. Baron's story involved Marmalade being raised by her foster father, a man with a cane and a twitch. Otis realizes that it was Baron who was abused by Mr. Frankels and informs him the FBI will be in touch. Otis has the FBI search Mr. Frankels' home, and he is arrested when they find children in. When he is headed to his car, Otis spots a moon pie on his wing mirror. He realizes this means that Baron was nearby, as he recalls that he told him that his mother enjoyed them, and runs into a nearby pharmacy, the same one where Baron picked up pills for his foster mother. The pharmacist informs Otis that Baron revealed that he was going to a nearby travel agent. Otis meets the travel agent, who informs him he has something for him. He hands him a ticket to Jamaica and a card in which Baron informs him that he should go take care of his mother, as he is doing the same, which makes Otis smile. Baron arrives at a room, and places the pills he acquired in a holder next to the room. He enters the room, and inside his foster mother is looking outside a window and puts her hand on his shoulder.